Turning to Florida, where the man convicted of killing a 15-year-old girl learned his fate earlier today. Thomas Stein was found guilty of first-degree murder in the shooting death of Kayla Rincon-Miller during a botched street robbery in Cape Coral, Florida in 2024. Now today, Kayla's loved ones and the defendant are coming face-to-face for his sentencing. Let's take you back into court.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Would you please state your full name?
Emma, right?
And you're speaking a little low this morning, so I want to make sure that the microphone picks up your voice, okay?
Sorry.
How do you spell your first name?
E-M-M-A.
And how do you spell your last name?
W-R-I-G-H-T.
And you were a victim in this case of the attempted
Yes,
robbery.
ma'am.
Did you prepare a statement or something you'd like to tell the court about the impact the crime has had on you?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like to read that now?
Yes, ma'am. On March 17, 2024, there were 3 girls who had just finished watching a movie and wanted some food. During that walk, one of us got shot. There were 3 shots that went off, and there were 3 of us. That night...
I apologize for interrupting. If you could pull the microphone a little bit further over, it'd be easier. There you go. Thank you.
There were 3 shots that went off that night, and there were 3 of us. That night will affect everyone who ever knew Kayla and who was ever close to her. I'm up here to speak for the people who can't. I'm a victim of a horrible crime, and I have been bullied and discouraged about. People tried to blame me and my friend Deja for this act of violence. I am here to express the emotional trauma and the distress that this has caused us. I no longer find peace in walking home late at night or engaging in late-night activities. I constantly am on edge thinking something is going to happen. People like to say, your trauma makes you stronger, but me and my best friend Deja have gone through enough in our lives, and what happened that night left us distraught and scared for the rest of our lives. I watched that trauma destroy my best friend. She was so devastated that a childhood friend had passed away. This trauma had given us nightmares, stole our voices, and gave us destructive coping mechanisms. We felt unheard and were bullied for this crime. It is easy to blame the victim than to acknowledge their perpetrators. You don't get to judge or bully the victims of a tragedy that has happened in the span of 1 second. That is all it took for those shots to go off and take the life of Kayla. I am a victim, and I will forever grieve of the loss of Kayla Rincon-Miller, and she will forever be in our hearts and will forever be 15.
Thank you.
All right, you may stand. Thank you.
Next, the state would call Claire Etienne.
Raise your right hand. You swear affirm testimony you give will be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
You take a seat.
May I inquire?
You may proceed.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Would you please state your full name?
Marie Claire Etienne.
Can I just move the microphone up a little? Maybe tilting it might help.
Got it?
Would you please spell your first name?
M-A-R-I-E
And your last name, please.
E-T-I-E-N-N-E.
And you're here to provide victim impact to the court, is that correct?
Yes,
Have you prepared a statement, or is there something you'd just like to say?
I did.
Okay, let's have you do that.
Your Honor, my name is Claire Etienne, and I am the mother of one of the victims in this case. I respectfully submit this statement to describe the profound and the lasting impact that had on my daughter, on me, and my entire family. The day of the attack changed our life forever. My daughter, Luann, was held at gunpoint and suffered severe trauma that required her to be hospitalized in ongoing mental health treatment. As a mother, watching my child endure such fear, pain, was one of the most devastating experiences of my life. No parent should ever witness their child suffer in this way. The trauma was made even more unbearable because Luann's friend, Kayla Rincon-Miller, was killed during the attack. In a single moment, my daughter became both a survivor of a violence crime and a young person grieving the loss of her friend. This is a burden that no child should ever have to carry. The effect of this crime did not end at the attack, when the attack was over. Because the trauma she experienced, she was removed from her high school and placed into a smaller school for an entire year. She lost the opportunity to experience a normal school environment with her classmate and friend. Her education, her routine, and her sense of security was all disrupted. The impact on our family have been overwhelmed. Our life became centered around doctor's appointment, counseling, and helping Luann heal emotionally. Every day brought a new challenge as we work to support her recovery while we are trying to rebuild some sense of normalcy. The emotional toll on me became severe. I was hospitalized twice, overwhelmed with stress, trauma by this horrific event. The fear of almost losing my daughter, combined with witnessing her pain and grief, affected every part of my life. It changed me as a mother, as a person, and as a foundation of our family. This case is not just about what happened on one tragic day. The effect continued to be felt every single day. Luann continued to live with trauma of the attack and heartbreaking of the loss of her friend Kayla. Our family continues to carry emotional scars that cannot be seen but are deeply felt. I also want to acknowledge Kayla's family. They suffered the loss of their daughter, who was taken far too soon. My heart continued to ache for them, and I pray they find strength and peace as they continue their journey of grief. I respectfully ask the court to consider the full extent of harm caused by this action, not only the physical danger, but also the lasting trauma, the disruption of my daughter's education, the grief, the fear, and the permanent impact on my family. Despite everything she have endured, Luann have shown incredible courage, resilient, and she is determined. I am deeply proud of the young woman that she have become. Although this tragedy will always be part of our life, it will not define her future. We will continue to move forward, honoring Kayla's memories while supporting Luann as she continues to heal. Special thanks to the Cape Coral Police Department and detective and the state attorney teams who have stood by our side throughout this journey. Thank you, Your Honor, for allowing me the opportunity to share the lasting impact this tragedy have had on our family.
Thank you. All right, you can sit down. Thank you.
And the state calls Luann Deja.
All right, let's bring in our guest for this hour, trial attorney John Mobley. John, of course, we're great to see you, my friend, by the way. Happy to have you on the program. The thing about it, John, we're catching our viewers up on the emotional impact of the sentencing, but I want to remind our viewers what that sentencing actually was since it took place earlier today. Thomas Stein, he did get a life sentence plus 3 consecutive sentences of 15 years for the 3 armed robbery charges, so a life sentence plus 45 years total. And of course, John, we're sitting here listening to the emotional ripples that this had on the community, on the victims here and their families. But the thing about it, John, here, does a life sentence really provide any sort of closure for these victims here, especially Kayla Rincon-Miller's family, who will never get to see her again? Or is that just something that the legal system can never, really fulfill within these victims?
But, Cody, I got to call it like I see it in situations like this. I mean, when a family suffers a loss like this, whether it's a criminal case and they have a defendant being sentenced after being convicted, or it's a civil wrongful death case, like the type of case I handle, I mean, nothing that happens in that courtroom is going to bring that person back. I mean, that's the reality of it. And I think it's incumbent upon the attorneys involved in the process to make sure that they have that conversation with people that suffer that loss. That in the criminal system, the best possible outcome is the person responsible is convicted or pleads guilty and serves a substantial sentence, the maximum according to the law. In a civil case, if I represent a family where they lost someone in a death case, the best that I can ever do for them is get them money. And those are the harsh realities of the justice system. It is all that we have to offer. And I do think that people understand that. Absolutely. And John, speaking of you calling it like you see it here, I mean, just simplistically, after everything this jury heard here, John, I mean, you got a group of dudes who pulled up on a group of girls who are walking to McDonald's after a movie. You try to rob them, you pull a gun on them, and one of them ends up dead. I mean, was a life sentence the only option really here? I mean, the only appropriate punishment here? Because, I mean, this girl is, again, never coming back. Yeah, and this is one of those cases where if this was my client, prior to sentencing, I would have told them, listen, we're going to go in there, we're going to put up the fight and do everything we can, but you have to expect you're likely going to get the worst possible outcome, the maximum. I mean, the intangibles are just horrible. I mean, because when you look at the details of the conduct, the behavior is predatory. They're picking on young girls as victims. They're not picking on men or adults or anybody that had even a fighting chance of putting up a fight or surviving. They're picking on defenseless young girls, which makes the conduct predatory, which makes it worse. And there's also the premeditation. It's not like these guys are just driving around and, hey, all of a sudden, maybe they actually went to drink or saw these girls and just kind of did something spontaneously. I mean, this kind of conduct was planned. So you look at those things. I mean, you look at the fact that this defendant, he's supplying the weapon to the other defendants. He's making videos about committing crimes. He's got a prior record. I mean, there is zero mitigation for the defendant in this case. And again, of course, the lawyer's job is to try to do everything he can to get the lowest possible sentence. But this is a case where I'm certain his attorney told him to expect to get hammered. Yeah, absolutely. Great points made there, John. My friend, stand by. More from this sentencing after the break, folks. And I just want to point out that we're hearing victim impact statements right now on behalf of the prosecution, but we will eventually hear from Thomas Stein himself and his mother. So you don't want to miss that. Keep it right here on your front row seat to justice.